Have you restarted the game?
No, not yet.
You let me know when we're going in.
I'm gonna restart now, just to get out of the way.
Even rocking that green background.
All right, we are live.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna send out a ping to the server while we're at it.
All right. Well, while we are getting everything all set up, my name is WDSS Grant. I'm gonna be running, and my couch is Goober and Nintharth. Go ahead and introduce yourself while Dwayne is going to the bathroom.
I'm back.
All right.
You can go first, Dentarth.
I am Intharth. I'm one of the runners for the game. I also moderate the board, and I've been in the community for about 2 to 3 years.
I'm Goober. I've been playing Red Faction since about 2001. Been speedrunning it since I'm gonna say 2015 or so. I'm the admin for the Speedrun Discord, and I'm the lead admin for the speedrun.com boards.
And I am Dwayne Jones. I do all those things that those guys said too, except not as good. I did one of the first impossible segment speedruns, and I'm just here to be the old guy going, back in my day, we didn't do any of this.
It's very true.
AKA here for moral support.
There you go.
Perfect.
AKA the uncle / granddad of the community.
Yes, the cool uncle.
Yes,
That's right. Yeah.
That's what you said.
All right. Well, I am ready to go. Are you guys ready?
Ready?
Cool.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go ahead and do a countdown, and I hope that Hecky is ready. So 3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
All right. So I am going to take a backseat on a lot of the commentary, just because there will be some sections that focus. But feel free to jump in whenever you guys are ready.
Okay, so the first thing that I'll say about this game for anyone who is unaware of why Grant is about to be jumping a lot is because in this game, like a lot of other FPS games, when you are jumping up a hill, you are saving a very small amount of time with each jump. So yeah, he's going to be jumping whenever he's going up a hill in this game.
And this may be too early to mention this, that this game is super speedrun friendly. It has just the right amount of like tech that it's fun. It's more than just a whole W simulator, but not so much that it's unapproachable.
It started as whole W for a long time. We almost joked about it being the most casual, friendly, introductory speedrun, but it's less just whole W now than it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it has a lot of out of bounds skips as well as the game's geomob engine to do tunnel skips. I'll also mention very quickly that's the first time where you get a weapon in this game, and he's about to get a rocket launcher. And this game's kind of shtick, like what was on the box to advertise it was its destruction engine, so you can like tunnel holes in walls. There are going to be times throughout the run where Grant's going to use his rocket launchers or other explosives, as he's about to do right here, to tunnel through walls to skip certain sections of the game. Right there again. He's tunneling right here to get over to this vehicle. He's redoing that.
Already
So yeah,
letting nerves get to me.
He's tunneling over here to reach the vehicle.
It's the first major sort of geomod trick of the game. The first one was really just, setting up the jump. The going into the actual conveyor belt area was the trick itself.
Sorry, there's one thing that I just wanted to very quickly mention outside of the force field skip that you can say in a second. The very first level in this game is a little bit slow, I will admit, but it speeds up very, very, very quickly, and it maintains that pace for the rest of the game.
Unfortunately, the first level, we really don't have much of anything. It's just, that's the only real part of the game where hold W is the premise, and then the rest of it is where, so once you get out of this area, it's where it picks up, like. So just to mention a couple of things there, the force field skip is a save load trick. It's a damage barrier that pushes you backwards, but if you save load, it pushes you forwards. And that trick we just saw right there was Grant firing 2 rockets to kill the vehicle known as the APC. There's a death trigger on that bridge, but killing that APC removes the death trigger for reasons, so it works. And it's about 3 seconds faster than running around to drop down onto that ledge, so it saves a small amount of time.
Yeah, and I'll also mention that this big lift here is one of the slower parts in the game. This is going to just literally be sitting on a lift for a couple of seconds. When we get up to the top of this is when like the game starts going crazy with like geo skips and out of bounds skips and stuff.
So before we get there, I do want to say that if you notice, WDS Grant has put the silencer on his pistol, which makes the gun no, hold on. It makes the gun sound cooler, and I think it feels more accurate. It
I
is
did
not
prove
more.
that. I did prove it is more accurate.
This
Okay.
is coming from the guy that also thinks that when you are scoped with a sniper, it makes you faster.
That was a joke, I swear.
You didn't say it like it was a joke at the time. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, so he's going to go into the guard barracks here now. So the premise of this game basically is you're a miner on Mars. The company is exploiting its workers, and you are going to rise up and rebel against this company. So you're going to go from the mines into the barracks here. Yeah, you're going to go from the mines into the barracks here, and the idea is to get up to the docking bay to get on a cargo ship to escape Mars and go back to Earth.
There is an out of bounds skip that we can do in this level, but we've only really had it tried and tested properly with Sagma did, because it doesn't really save a whole lot of time. It's like a second or so based on the trajectory of the pathing, but it's still inconsistent enough to be a speed boost for the RTA itself.
Yeah, if you want to see that skip, look up any of the new segmented runs, and you'll see it.
Or my IL.
Or your IL, correct.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
So did I.
So,
Coming up is... No.
I was just going to say, for anybody who's played Half-Life, you probably are recognizing this big elevator scene. This game was made just after Half-Life, so there are some very clear influences.
Yeah. Coming up, we are the second major geo trick of the game is going through a wall instead of climbing up a ladder to open that door. And then in the next area, we will do another geo trick to skip an elevator.
Those are great jumps across those handrails.
Yeah, it's really clean movement, man.
Because, like we said before, the game is very approachable, but with anything that's simple, it can become super hard to like master and make it perfect, even if it's simple.
I think the word, there's intricacies with the simplicity of it. You want to take this, Goober?
I'm sorry, I just responded in the chat. Yeah, technically in the game, the silence pistol is a separate weapon entry, yes.
Yeah.
And with the same accuracy?
Yeah.
This is the first out of bounds skip in the game. So
let me get a better angle.
I can,
shout out Hotshot GG, right?
Yep.
Did you want to explain how that works, Nthard, or you want me to?
I can run through a basic of it if you want.
Alright.
Essentially, out of bounds works by when you save load, a bit like the force field, but not so much, because the force field is a damage buffer that pushes you. This is save loading where collision spheres are intersecting with geometry, and as you intersect, the geometry allows the collision spheres to pass through. So when you're save loading, it's like rounding your position a little bit each time, which allows these spheres to intersect, and then at minimum, you need at least 3, and after the third one, generally speaking, you can get through. There was 2 in that block, and the second one was found much later than the first one.
Yeah, and I'm also going to say that the second one there, Grant, that was super clean.
So clean.
Super clean. And there was also another moment for anybody watching where he geoed through the wall next to that computer. That is to skip the game's first boss fight. There was that big drone that you might have seen off to the side of the screen. The game wants you to fight that before you can proceed, but this is Red Faction, and we can just geo through the walls, so we just tunnel. Saves a lot of time.
Yeah, throughout this entire game, I think we only fight one boss.
Yeah.
And I think that's even only in RTA. Segmented skips that. We just haven't figured it out for RTA yet.
Segmented itself skips every single boss fight in the game. RTA, we only have to do 1.
And that's only until we figure out a way to consistently skip that.
Yeah, there is a way, and it is somewhat consistent within Segmented. It's just a little risky with RTA, so no one's actually tried it yet.
Yeah.
Would it be incorrect to like a layman's version of how the out of bounds works, that like as you're saving pressed into those corners, it like pushes you into the corner?
Well, it's when the game loads, it loads your position, but it rounds it to the nearest, I don't know what the digits are, but it rounds it. And so if your collision sphere, if your collision sphere at all intersects the geometry, you can just keep moving through it. So it's not actually the save that pushes you, it's the load that loads you in at a slightly offset position to where you were when you saved.
Cool.
Yeah, the easiest way that I've heard it described is the one that we ended up putting in the world record progression video, where your character is kind of like a snowman, and when you save load, a piece of the snowball gets pushed into the wall.
Yeah, that's a really good description.
Yeah. It was.
That didn't
I mean,
go.
Oh, my toes curled for that. I thought I was like, oh.
your art helped explain the video more than my explanation did. Helped explain the save loading.
Again, just to say, like, to what Dwayne said earlier, this game is very approachable from a speedrun perspective. However, there is still, just despite the lack of advanced movement text like a Quake game or like bunny hopping or whatever would have, the movement in this game is very simple, but there is still a lot of importance placed on very clean movement and precise jumps. And Grant is, outside of that jump that he totally missed, absolutely
God
nailing
bounce.
the jumps.
Yeah.
In this. Like, that bounce there was awesome.
Yeah, I've only ever seen that bounce done properly with Hallmark segmented runs for the most part.
I think I had in my segment.
I think Surreal managed it a couple of times in PF.
It's so hard.
Yeah, it's so hard to get a bounce there.
Sorry, there was one thing that I wanted to mention here. Coming up here, we're going to be going to the geothermal power plant in this game, which the game plays up as a very, very large set piece. It's important
And
to the
it is.
revolution. It's a big piece of lore. But in Red Faction speedrunning, where we can just geo through this wall and then out of bounds through this door, we just completely skip all of this story progression. Go to the other side.
There's a huge thing where you're destroying a lava station, a water station, you're blowing up some pumps, and you're blowing up the plant, but in the speed run, what plant, am I right? You didn't blow up no plant.
And somebody want to explain what a visual out of bounds is? Because that's what I just did.
I can take it again, or if you want.
You can do that. Actually,
Awesome.
let me just say this first, just because that part right there, anybody watching this who has tried this game, if they've downloaded it on Steam or whatever, is going to have a lot of problems with that area. This run is being run on the Dash Faction patch, which is the standard version of this game, basically for all purposes. That submarine is likely going to explode when you hit that button to drop it off of the crane. If you're using the stock version of the game that you get when you install it from Steam, the retail discs, GOG, anything like that, you should go and download the Dash Faction patch if you're going to play or run this game. So yeah.
It's quality of life fixed and a lot of bugs and memory leaks, etc. fixed with that.
Yeah, it makes the
and
game
things like
compatible with modern
widescreen
hardware.
options and stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
So quickly before we get too far ahead, a visual out of bounds is the same as the out of bounds you saw, but it's save loading a fraction of a second before you're too far out of the level. For whatever reason, this makes the whole level available to see from outside the boundaries, whereas before it wouldn't be available. You would just be blind jumping. But it's essential to get some of these visual out of bounds to do some tricks, which might take a bit more precise jumping, etc. It's risky to set up, but it's less risky when you're out of it.
Yeah, because technically you could do all of the things without doing that. It's just you'd be having to do them blind. So it's very useful to not have to do a bunch of like precise jumps on geometry completely blind.
Yeah. The problem with it is if you mess it up, you'll crash the game.
Yeah, I'm still not sure if it's pixel perfect or frame perfect or whatever it is, but it's very, very small window to do it.
Yeah. So this is the first stealth segment of the game where you get all your weapons taken by that miner there who's like, oh, we've got to put you in a suit. We need you to stealth your way up to the guy who's going to help us with some information. And in the speed run, we're just going to say, no stealth.
It's actually the only stealth mission in the speedrun because we skipped the next one.
Yes, there's two, but this one's the only one that is forced, which the developers themselves said, when they got to the second one, they thought maybe not force it.
That elevator skip is so good. I'm still so terrible at those. Someone explain that.
Goober, can you explain it? Because I don't really understand the stacking part.
Yeah, sure. Those are load warps, and anybody who's familiar with like Half-Life speedrunning, or I think a lot of other games,
One's about to come up again.
Probably recognizes that. Basically, you're like putting a load level effectively on the stack. You're queuing it up, then you're going back to backtrack through the level that you're already in while that load is queued. And the effect of that is that when the load is actually processed, it will load you into the next level in a relative position to where you were in the level that you were in. So you can backtrack through the map that you are already in to advance a little bit in the level that you're going to.
And Grant's making them look easy, because getting in there, pressing that elevator button, and getting out before the doors of the elevator lock you in is not easy.
It's harder in Mad Labs, I think. Yeah.
And just to mention here as well, he is out-of-boundsing.
That could have been very, very bad right there.
That was very risky.
This
I
is
did not
another
mean to do
section.
that.
This is another section of the game that is like a big story piece. This Griffin person who you have kidnapped here, that is like the biggest first story element of the game. You go in and kidnap this guy. There's like this big dramatic cutscene and stuff. But in the speed run, we just like clip out of the end of the map and skip all of that. So
There is a running joke that when in the normal game you spend that part of the game picking up the admin Griffin and taking him to where you've got to drop him off, but in the speed run it's more like we're just trying to run away from him and not take him with us.
yeah, Griffin
And he
is
keeps
very
on catching
annoying.
up. He keeps catching. There he is. He's getting in the way again. There's also a poorly. I don't know if it's just a glitch with the game or if it's just a badly designed part. But sometimes he's just gonna die there regardless. It's a bit of a run killer.
This
And
is
sometimes
awesome
you can
coming
get
up here.
past him dying. Sometimes you
There
can't.
you go. That was a
Nice. That was
super
clean.
nice jump there. So
Clean.
for anyone
So-
unaware of what happened there, he just like out of bounds through this little wall up top, then walked along the outside of the map out of bounds and jumped blind into the aircraft hangar below, avoiding a bunch of beams along the way that if he had hit them would have killed him, and landed directly on the flyer. That's a really tricky jump to make, and he made it look really easy. So
I
good
think-
And you have to absolutely mash the hell out of views, or else you will die each and every
I
time.
I was nervous watching that actually, but you pulled it off. Nice job.
Imagine how I feel.
It probably, in total, when done like first time like that, it probably saves 10 to 15 seconds on top of waiting for the elevator ride to go down.
And the segment we just saw is really cool. I love because the order that you
scripted
kill these
segment.
guards in this area is important to spawn the what just happens here.
The trigger, the trigger.
Yeah, and that was another load warp there where
Yeah.
you just press the button on the elevator and walked
So
out.
this-
so he was
this
further
is,
advanced in the next section.
This is the second boss fight in the game, technically speaking. That would be Skip. Ordinarily, what you would have to do in this section of the game is you would be shooting this trash
I'm
bot,
gonna
which we're
redo
not
that.
looking at. Fair enough. There's
a
it's
big
like a
robot
big,
there.
big robot, which we don't we used to fight and to we would shoot it and then there would be a line which would imply there's an incinerator in the level, so we would have to lure it onto the incinerator and blow it up and then go from there. In the speed run, we're going to do an out of bounds to skip that entire segment. We're also skipping a cutscene trigger with this, and we're also
Oh, Jeebus.
and using this,
Nailed
we're gonna drop into the next part of the game where you will go to the next level.
Very
Clean
pog.
landing, clean landing.
Nice. Very clean landing into the vent. Now just walk down the vent. So we just skipped that entire robot area. And we also don't have Griffin following us anymore because after that cutscene we ditched him. But
Yep, Intarth, get your digs in here.
So this is the famous part of the game. For anyone who has played Red Faction, this part of the game, there's a bit of a loop back at the start there, where you pick up the stealth segment, attire, the Doctor's Cloak. In the speedrun, we don't drop down there, we don't even go down there, but there's a loop path there which you can go down. Our good friend Dwayne here, he in his segmented run, he went down there anyways. He did a full loop of the whole area twice before eventually going the right way.
I'll have you know that in that run, I created the impossible segmented world record with that run. I may have gone around Med Labs twice, but you know what? That was just because I wanted to make it easier for future runners.
And then you did it in
So
Dwayne percent.
really cool out of bounds there to skip that door, skip the keycard thing. Here we're going to be throwing this grenade through the wall out of bounds down to hit. There you go.
Yeah.
That was nice. Down to hit Kapek, who was waiting down at a room down below. And Kapek has a trigger on him that when you damage him, he teleports you down and starts a cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
So by throwing the grenade through the wall there, we just skip that entire elevator, the cutscene, the walking between the area. We just kill him and let him teleport us down.
And it is literally just as easy as walking into that corner and throwing that grenade. I was
It
so
is as long as you line
surprised.
it up, yeah.
Yeah,
There we go.
we despite Dwayne being the not so hip with the modern day strats, he nails that grenade every time he does it.
He does. And that was a very, very clean
Geo
jump there, Grant. And this one here is a little dicey, but I think you got it.
That's it. This whole area is filled with like sort of geo strats, which is the engine strength, blowing holes in the wall to skip areas. It's the big geo strat is yet to come, but all of these are little mini skips which are skipping not minuscule parts, but it's like 10 to 15 seconds of walk around each time that they're skipping, so it adds up over time.
And again, like I said
yeah.
at the start, or sorry, like I said at the start, this game's like shtick, like the big ad piece of that they marketed the game back in 2001 was its destruction engine. So you can blast craters in the wall with explosives. So we are taking advantage of that to basically make stairs or tunnels in certain areas to skip
Yeah.
sections.
This whole area is I'll say the third boss fight in the game. Technically, we are chasing the third boss to his inner lair, so to speak.
That
And
save you did there, was that to cancel fall damage?
Yes. Yeah.
yes,
Okay, cool.
it landing in the water. So like in the old games version of Pure Faction, where you would water boost, it doesn't water boost, but it still cancels that fall momentum, so to speak. It just
And
doesn't
for
boost you
anyone
back up.
wondering why he's killing these robots, it's because for some reason this button here is not active until you kill all those robots. It doesn't make any sense, but anyway, yeah, you have to kill
We
those
are
And-
robots
working
before
on.
that'll let you press that button.
Until recently, we did not have an out of bounds skip them. Now we do.
Yes.
Are you going to go for the zoo out of bounds?
Nope.
doing this
Nope.
one?
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
okay,
Nope.
okay.
Nope.
There is an out of bounds over to the right there, but it's a very newly discovered one. We're still trying to refine it a little bit and make it more
Yeah.
consistent. It's a little too risky right now, but if you are interested in Red Faction skips and this game as a speedrun game, please join the speedrun community. We would love to discuss that with you and have you help us refine these things.
What is the URL they can go to join our awesome Discord?
Oh, right, that's rfchat.com.
You will
That is
see later.
rfchat.com.
That's the Red Factions.
rfchat.com.
That's the Red Faction community. The speedrun community has a channel on it. So yeah, come hang out.
We have 2 new out of bounds in this area, but I think both are strictly segmented right now.
Well, is Grant going to go for the
Nope.
ice cave one?
Nope.
No. We all
Stop
know
trying
work
to
on
make
that
me
one.
throw this away.
This
I was just asking.
this
I'm
part of
nervous
the,
enough as it is.
This part of the game is another good show for the geomod aspect of the game. So initially in this game, there's a water section where you have to swim to get to a submarine bay, get a submarine, and then take that to the next area of the game. Here, we used to use like 5 or 6 rockets to skip that and just climb up this wall instead because the bridge retracts, so we can't go across it. Now, as Grant has so expertly shown us a very clean movement,
Nice.
that is 1 rocket down from 5 to 6 that we used to use.
That was really nice. And just for anyone unaware,
Get
like
some
we're talking
pogs
about
in the chat.
get some pogs in the chat. We're talking about saving rockets. That's very important because a bit later in the run, remember we've been talking about Geomod the whole time and how we can use that to skip sections. A bit later in the run, right after the K-Pec fight, is the largest geo skip in the entire game. We're going to use, I think it's like 20 rockets or something to geo up a canyon, this like big canyon that you walk down, and that skips an entire level. So it's a huge time save. So we need to save as many rockets as we can so that we have rockets to make that tunnel.
So the entire effort of this area is saving rockets, but still creating geoskips.
And I'm going to say this more again towards the end of the run, but right away, like, let's remind everybody now, like, Grant, you're the best. Keep it up, dude. You're doing great.
Oh yeah, like I know you're nervous, but like you're
doing
nailing this. Like
some of the cleanest movement I've seen in a long time for you.
Great
There's a reason
job.
that he's the best.
There is a reason why our friend Grant here is the world record holder and has been for some time.
So, this is a little trick that technically you don't need to do, but it's a safe strat to get extra rockets. Not necessarily saving time, but it's a consistency thing of making sure we have the maximum amount of rockets for the next area.
This entire area of the game really is about like really good movement, a couple of cool tricks, but other than that, it's just rocket economy. Like other than that, you're trying to save as many rockets as you can, use them only where necessary, and pick them up from whatever guards are holding them and drop them when you kill them.
I take it you're not doing this one either. Nope. Okay.
No. From here, there's only one more cool one that you guys know of that I'm gonna try.
Grant, I know you have a live split open. Cindy's asking how your time is.
Like a minute behind.
A minute? Yeah.
A minute behind my record.
It's not bad at all. I mean, you had to retry 2 areas, so
Yeah.
like that's a really good time.
I still don't agree with using 2 rockets there. But that's me. You're the world record holder.
Do you think you can do it with 1?
I can.
I-
I'm not going to.
It's not super consistent.
It is for me.
Oh, are you're going to do a load warp here, right? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, so he's doing another load warp here to cut out a little bit of time. This here is the biggest, like, major boss fight in the game, and it's the only one that we still do in the RTA run. So this is K-Pac, the mad scientist guy who's experimenting on everyone on Mars. So we have to kill him by, first off, killing 5 of these guards in a specific order. Or, sorry, not a specific order, but a specific 5 of these guards. Spawn K-Pac, then kill K-Pac by using the flamethrower, which destroys his nanotech shield instantly, which is hilarious. This is supposed to be a very hard fight, but it's not.
It's an oversight in the game's development where the flamethrower does damage per frame, and we are running the game at 240 frames, which makes it super fast to tick damage.
Exactly.
Whereas
I believe that's roughly 4
2,
times faster than was imagined.
The original game was capped at 60, I think, and then the PS2 it's 30. So.
Oh, actually, yeah. For anyone unaware, this was originally a PS2 game. Like, this is a PC port of. Well, this is a fan made patch, which is of the PC port, but it was originally a PS2 game. So a lot of like the level design choices and stuff. Just keep in mind, this was made for the PlayStation 2.
So coming up is the thing that we have been talking about. We're sort of building it up a little bit. It is the biggest use of the geomod skip that we have to show for, and
this is the canyon tunnel.
Yeah, this is the tunnel. So there's been a different version of this, which is slightly more. It uses less rockets, but you have to go further around, and you've still got to walk along the sort of. There's a gondola sort of rope that you've got to walk along to finish the skip. But this version, we go up the correct side of the wall so that we don't have to cross the land again, so to speak. And as we said before, it's about 20 rockets to get up this wall. It is a slow climb, but it saves about, I think it's like a whole 2 minutes on the entire run to the bottom of the canyon, and then you've got to climb the canyon from that side, get on the gondola, and come back along. So it's skipping out an entire map.
And I believe you're save loading here to shoot the rockets faster.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, to skip the fire way down. I was just going to say, you're about a third of the way down this canyon right now. To do this the normal way, you have to go like 2/3 additional canyon, plus you have to go through another map, which is climbing up this big like rock cave thing. Then you have to take a gondola ride across to the other side of the canyon, and in doing this, we just skip all of that. So even though like walking up this tunnel seems a little slow,
oh my god!
Even though walking up this tunnel... Even though walking up this tunnel seems a little slow, it is way quicker than going the normal way.
That is like the most, I feel like it's not the craziest abuse of Geomod, but like it's the one that's like, what? You just do a 25 rocket tunnel up the side of a mountain?
Yeah.
As a shout out to the segmented runners, a lot of these skips are segmented found initially, and we just improve upon them for RTA afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. And this is where the game starts phasing in. I know you haven't really been concentrating on enemies because we haven't cared about a lot of them, but this is where the game starts phasing in the mercs, the like heavier enemies. If you're familiar with Half-Life, these are kind of like the parallel between the guards and now the Marines are coming in. So the mercs are kind of the Marines. They fill a similar role.
What guards do you fight in Half-Life?
Well, they're not actually guards; they're aliens in Half-Life. But are you gonna go for the comm center skip?
He is.
Oh.
He is hard saving because this part of the game is inconsistent for RTA, but it is such a good skip that we really wanted to try and include it.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Nice. So what's happening here?
That was really hard out of bounds.
It's
not over yet.
So what happens here is the elevator will push you up into the ceiling if you are clipping out, but the problem with that is there is a door barrack in the way which affects your clipping.
Oh my god. Oh.
So in a twisted turn of programming events, this Aesir, the spaceship, if you will, that we can get into, you shouldn't be able to get in this, and you cannot get in any of the other Aesirs that are non-player orientated. But this one you can get in, but you can't shoot any weapons. It's an oddity, but it serves its purpose for us, and we are eternally grateful.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Azera skip there. This is amazing, dude.
Brilliantly timed visual out of bounds there to find the door.
So
I haven't said it yet, but normally I say it all the time. That is way harder than it looks. That is.
Oh,
It
that was
That
yeah.
is-
And just
To put in
give you guys a
perspective, this
sense-
is the second time that's ever been done in RTA.
Yeah, exactly. That is traditionally a segmented only strat, and holy
Yeah.
crap, man, you did a great job.
That-
Just for anybody watching, to give you some perspective, he just skipped the walk to the top of the comm center, the cutscene that's up there, all of the combat with the mercs up there, going through the airlock, the entire canyon in the next map, all that difficult combat, and just jumped straight to the tramway. That saved an enormous amount of time, and yeah, as Grant said, that's only the second time this has been done in RTA. That's normally a segmented only strat, but man, good job. Very,
Yeah.
very, very well done.
This
Now I get
is
to give my
the-
hands a rest.
Yeah, this is the there is technically another version. It's the Jeep in the Canyon, but we don't take that. So we'll call this the first auto scroller in the run, and it's the only one that is anything. We
Of
have
course, we're
found
clipping
that,
through the tram naturally.
so in essence, we tried everything. We have tried out of bounds clips to speed this place up. The trigger at the end just will not give. So what we have found, and credit to Grant and I believe Etnias for working on this one.
Yep.
This clipping into the tram and then clipping out of the tram again when you're in halfway through the auto scroller to jump into what is technically an enemy tram, which is designed to kill you.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to get in this tram. Just
No, this
for
is- this-
anybody not aware of that.
At the end of this section, this tram is going to zip forward faster than your one. So if you're in this tram, you'll be able to go into the next section a little bit quicker. So it saves about, what do you say, maybe 5 seconds to get from the loading area.
Yep.
And but obviously being clipped into the tram, etc., means that it moves faster and it's progress during the auto scroller. So you're still saving time in the middle of the actual auto scroller by beating the script essentially. This is where you zip forward. You try not to die on that. Yeah. The fun part about this,
you almost hit that pillar, but
the cool part about that is you hit the door before the level's loaded, so you just open the door to a wall.
yeah, that was awesome. Oh, I'll also say these mercs, like I said, the game phases in the mercs here. Some of them have rail drivers. Those like blue beams that you see, those suck. Those will instant kill you on every difficulty, and the guards are surprisingly accurate with them. So,
Regardless
luckily,
of
we're not
health,
gonna-
armor, anything.
yeah, I hope you're not going to get clipped by one of those.
Luckily, on easy, the effectiveness of their aiming is slightly reduced with it. When you run this game on a higher difficulty, that accuracy is magnified to the point where you are quick saving every time you pass one,
Yes.
and before you get to one.
And this
And
is
hope
like
that
this
you don't quick
cheesy-
save as you die.
Yeah, that would be a yikes.
And this is like this cheesy section where you get in this tram and it like crash lands into this facility. And I'll say for this next area, you're supposed to take an APC down this long canyon, but the APC is slower than walking, so we're just gonna walk down.
It's
You're
about
gonna
3
see him-
times slower than walking.
Exactly. You're gonna see him like walk in some strange ways up walls at parts. Some of that is to save time, but also some of that is to avoid triggers that spawn guards. And some of it also, but in this game, if a guard is about to spawn and you're looking at the part that they're, or the place where they're about to spawn, they won't spawn until you look away. So there are going to be some areas where like he's keeping guard spawn points in view so that they don't spawn and kill him. So if he's moving in some weird ways, that's totally intentional. Or that's totally intentional. So don't,
Yeah, there's a lot
don't be
of
too confused.
there's a lot of points in this little area where the rail guards can just pop you if you're unlucky. On easy, it's very rare that they will actually kill you in this section, but the threat is always there. There's like the fusion rocket launcher, which is like a super rocket launcher, so there's the threat of that as well. So you just got to be really careful when pathing down here that you just avoid as much damage as possible.
And yeah, Sierra runs. Yeah, the game says take the vehicle because it's faster. It is not at all faster. It's never faster.
I think in total, I think there's about so there's 2 submarines, there's 2 Asirs, there's the APC, and there's the Jeep. So out of 6 vehicles,
Well, technically
we
3
only
is here.
3 is well, 3.
You're
Well,
only
yes,
supposed to
now
be able to get
technically
into it.
yes,
Yeah.
but out of the 6 intended vehicles, we're only doing 3 of them.
Yep.
Yeah, and the Azirs honestly is just because they fly. It's not because they're
No.
faster, really. And one of them is because it forces you to go in it. There's not really an option to not.
And the other one is because you can't skip the last boss without it.
Yeah, exactly.
Although with the Azir, if you fly straight into a wall, you will die.
Oh yeah,
Oh, you
don't
will.
fly into walls.
And
Not that
also,
I've ever done that.
there's not going to be very many people who get this, but watch the Dwayne percent run if you're confused. But Dwayne has a tendency to fly his Azir directly into an enemy Azir, and they both explode. So don't do that if you're playing this game. It's it's not a winning strategy.
So that was a very clean riverbed run. This is the a callback to the start of the game. It's really the boring part of the run where it's just hold W and get to the end. We're back a little bit. There's not really any tricks in this area. It's more just like try and avoid damage here. Take out the railgun before he has a chance to shoot you. Nicely done.
Nice. That was a very
Uh,
clean kill there.
There is
Also,
a trick here.
Yeah, whatever.
It's a strategy that you can employ there to avoid the super rocket launcher there, where you face the wall when you're going down there. He doesn't fire it for whatever reason unless you're looking at him. So by the time you get to him, he's pulled out his rifle and he's not.
He's
actually
just
gonna
being an honorable mercenary. He's like, I'm not going to
Yes.
shoot at that revolting miner unless I can see his eyes. You know.
just to note, this is from a lore perspective or a story perspective. You might notice the gravity is low here. This is the game's thing where it brings you up to the space station orbiting Mars. So you're actually up in orbit now, and I'm not sure if you're actually going to see the sky.
Yeah,
Sky
you see the
box with all
skybox.
the stars. Okay, cool. So yeah, you're like orbiting up above Mars. So we need to like kill this reactor, and then we're supposed to go to the escape pod bay, but we're actually just going to out of bounds everywhere and jump down there.
This is so from a technical perspective, this used to be another hold W area where we would just follow the routine, go up to the top of the space station, disable the doorway locks, blow the ship up, and then go. It used to be predominantly comparing it to other parts of the game. This was one of the slower levels. It is now one of the, when done like correctly, this is one of the fastest levels in the game now. What we're doing here. Yeah, in
Yeah,
the
just
current
to say,
setup.
in the current segmented run, this is literally the fastest chapter in the game now, and it used to be one of the slowest. So,
Mhm.
And he's
Then-
falling through the blue space. Where will he land? There he goes.
Nicely done.
Right
So what
next
we
to the
did
load
is
trigger.
we initially there was a corner where we would go out and we would just float into the next area, but it took time to get there and it took time to set up. What Grant did there was he was able to nicely kill on the rail driver. He was able to skip all of that by doing it at the button where you blow up the space station. So using that little corner, you're not technically out of bounds until you go out, but what we use with that is swimming works out of bounds if you go out of bounds in the level where the water is. So you know you
In the
you have
room.
to be in the room, yeah, in the
Yeah.
room, and so you can swim out of bounds at the surface of the water anywhere, and essentially we swim it past the locked door. And yes, credit to Cindy and Grant for working on that, and Cindy for discovering it.
Absolutely, and now we're back down on Mars from a story perspective, and there was another geo skip, basically, or not skip, but you were just basically making a little staircase to jump up the side of the canyon, save a bit of time that way.
I believe that's the last geo skip of the run.
I think
Yes.
you're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's not much. There's not much
'Cause-
geo in the rest of the game. Most of the rest of the game is like metal corridors.
Yeah, the next two levels are not geoable at all, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right.
And well, Half-Life fans get ready to see a familiar sight.
Yeah, there's something coming up here in a second that is the most like obvious Half-Life influence section in any game I've ever seen.
It feels like Volition really took inspiration a lot from Half-Life for this game, and then for their second installment, Halo seems like a huge inspiration for Red Faction 2.
I mean, man, if you're gonna take inspiration from an FPS game when you're making a game in the year
Half-Life's a good
2000,
example.
Half-Life
Yeah.
is a pretty damn good place to take inspiration from.
You know what they
Velvet
say:
Gold
good
Ray.
artists borrow, great artists steal.
That's why no one's stealing your MedLab route, right?
Yeah, because
Exactly.
yeah, I put it there as a red herring to try and ruin other people's
So
runs.
this right here, right before the Half-Life reference, is just my personal favorite part of the game because they made this like hugely decorated hallway and then put no enemies in it. Just a blank hallway.
We do feel there was a cut section of the game here, but again,
Probably.
we'll never know.
So here's the Half-Life section where you're gassed and beaten up and you go down to 70 life and you wake up in jail and there's about to be some really cheesy voice lines here that are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You should
I
look
want to
at the
hear it in the
guy.
chat when this
Yeah.
happens. Red faction.
It's very, very quiet, but they'll be able to hear it.
Stop talking.
3, 2, 1. Oh, no. One more. I know. Red faction.
There you go. Very, very
And-
cool dialogue. So for anyone who's familiar with Volition as a studio, know that they've made Saints Row and some other titles. We feel like a lot of their early humor is sort of discovered here that plays a lot later in Saints Row, where they really advance the level of humor they employ and the cheesy dialogue, etc.
Another elevator load warp there, just like there was in the admin area with Griffin. At that elevator. There's going to be another one here coming up in a second. It's kind of subtle, you might miss it, but he's going to go in this elevator. And
Oh,
then...
yeah.
Oh, never mind, he missed
Yeah, I
it.
waited
He
too
was
long.
going to walk back out and load warp a little bit. But
It's
that
a
only
much
takes, like, a
smaller
second.
one. The load is much faster in this area, so it's much harder to get that one down to a timing point. But all these, again, like with the geo skips, a lot of these elevator skips are maybe jumping forward 2 or 3 seconds, but there's like 6 of them, so it does add up.
Are you going to go for the real lineup?
Yep.
All right.
Hell yeah.
So basically here there are 4 mercs and 2 mounted ceiling turrets in this room up ahead. And as soon as our friend Griffin, or Hendrix there, who you see up at the top of the screen, gets up to meet us, we're going to need to go to the next area of this map, and we're only going to be able to do that after we kill all of these mercs and turrets. So he's just killing them in advance so that we have less to do now in a second, and we can just keep Griffin, or
Oh, I didn't
Hendrix.
kill one.
Oh, he didn't kill one. Okay.
That is the first.
Yep, so Hendrix is going to move up now, and you just have to kill 1 ceiling turret, and then he should advance.
Well
This
done.
is something I didn't notice for a long time. If you look at those
There he is.
large bay doors, they have a large M on them.
They do, for Masako.
Yep.
Masako
He-
is the merc leader, and she is a scary lady.
Yeah, she is the
She's-
final boss in the game who is
She's-
terrifying, and you'll see what I mean.
She's so scary that they saved all of her dialogue for this one level.
We're getting very close to the end of the game here.
You missed him. Oh, shit.
Yeah, we're getting very
Nice.
close to the end of the game here, so we're just basically going to go down this hallway. We're going to steal another Azir, which is the flying vehicle. And then Grant's going to have some fun,
Yeah,
which
whatever.
we'll explain when it comes up.
The scary thing about Masako there is she is not afraid to kill people with combustible consoles. For anyone who missed it, Hendrix has now passed away.
Oh yeah, Hendrix just died. Rip Hendrix.
Yeah, rip Hendrix.
Yeah, at times I've played this game, I think I've killed Hendrix like 100 times.
You're horrible.
Yeah, I know.
There's it's
Can't
only
catch a break.
Hendrix.
No, Hendrix is like one of my favorite characters in this game.
Wait, if we had the option, we'd get killed Griffin too. Let's not sit on the
Well,
NPCs.
Griffin's a bad guy.
No, he's not. He's just a weasel.
He's a bureaucrat. I
Yeah.
don't trust him.
So this is the final skip in the game, so to speak,
It's
and
one of the
it
biggest
is
ones.
one of the biggest ones, one of the hardest ones, alongside Canyon Skip. This is the one that saves the most amount of time. So we are essentially what we're doing here is we're taking the Asir out of bounds, which is much harder to set up than your normal because the Asir has different collision meshes. But it's the same idea.
He's out.
Very clean. Good job.
Nice job. And now we're just going to fly to the end of the game and skip all of this glorious combat.
The last level is one continuous level, so the boss level is technically a trigger towards the end of this pathing area, but the last part of the level, which is right here, is loaded anyway, so we can just fly right under it and say, just here we go.
And
And
time will
then
be coming up soon.
Totally skip Masako. Yeah, time comes
This
up
is-
as soon as this bomb is done.
This is the RNG bomb in the game, and a lot of runs have fallen short because you just can't predict it. We've tried to find ways to understand, but no pattern has ever been the same. It is the truest form of RNG I think we've ever seen.
Yeah. This is still a pretty good time, though.
Yeah. It is not playing ball.
30 seconds until detonation.
Some patterns can just be perfect, and other ones can be like this, where you can't ever remember where to
There
go.
we go. Time,
Nice.
time.
That's fine.
Ah,
It stopped counting down.
That
job.
Did I disarm it?
And I'll
Sounds like we were
mercifully
like 42,
end that
48.
cutscene so it
Yeah.
doesn't rip ears.
Yeah,
that
that
cutscene is very loud.
the moderator did say if he misses the time end, it's just he's
Yeah,
gonna
we
get
got
You
it.
got it. We're good.
Yep,
There we
just
go.
a
Dude,
couple seconds off.
congratulations, Grant. That was a great run. I'm so happy to see people playing this game. I'm glad everybody that was watching is watching. Okay, sorry.
It
Good
was
job,
a
Grant.
beautiful run.
Awesome to see Red Faction at a marathon like this. Great job on the run, dude. And yeah, if anybody out there is interested in Red Faction as a speedrun game or otherwise, check us out on Discord at rfchat.com. We'd love to have you.
We do pride ourselves on being helpful for the most part, and we are always willing to help new people with questions, answers. We have a separate channel for tech, so if you do find anything, you know where to post it.
There you go.
Yep. And then
Yeah,
that went
great job,
surprisingly
Grant.
well with how much my hands were shaking, but thanks everybody for watching.
Good job.
Awesome, dude.
All right, and then whenever moderator's ready, tell me when to end stream.